Welcome into the Okello and Josh podcast. We are now back for season 2.
We back.
We totally never quit. That never happened. This is all planned. We're 100% in it. I just want you guys to know that I don't really got the intro in me today, so we're just going to hop right into it. Today, first topic is going to be networking and how me and Okello have connected with people that we once thought were just people we were going to have a poster hanging on our wall one day, but we actually got to talk to them, and we want to talk to you guys about how to talk to your idols.
Absolutely. Always remember that anything is possible. That's not just some sort of saying. It's a real saying that means something, and that all of us can do it as long as you put your mind to it and you know how to do it. So what is networking? Networking, interacting with others to share information, to develop professional and social contacts. What are some of your experiences with connecting with people who you thought, needed to hear from you and needed to people you wanted to connect with?
I'm going to first and foremost start with the Canadian rappers Snack the Ripper and Madchild. So years ago, they had like diss raps against each other, and I was really heartbroken by it because I really liked both rappers, and I knew that they were friends, and I wanted them to remain friends. And so I reached out to both of them. I was like, hey, man, like, I don't really like either of your guys' disses. I pretty much sent them the exact same message. Snack the Ripper took a lot longer to even respond to it. But I ended up getting into conversations with Madchild, and we would just... It was weird. We'd talk like bros.
Yeah.
And he had like 450,000 followers on his Instagram page, blue check mark. And yeah, I ended up getting in contact with him. And I really, really enjoyed that. So I kept on going with it. And through that, I've connected with some of my favorite drum companies, some of my favorite producers that produce music. I've connected, and you have too.
I have too. It's important to note that people like Elon Musk will just respond to like a random tweet from just someone who's got 100 or 200 followers. At the end of the day, people are human, and they see things, whether they're just browsing on their social media just like we are. They find little comments about them or whatever, and they sometimes take the time to respond just depending on how they feel. So yeah. In my connections, I've connected with people in the likes of some of Wiz Khalifa's people. People who follow me on Instagram know that just from looking at my page, you can kind of find posts that I've made. And, there's even comments that people have left from that direct camp. Now, how I did it, you find... It's really interesting how you can go to someone's page, like Wiz Khalifa, and find someone that they associate with on a regular basis, click their profile, and what I did was I would find like a picture that had 10 comments. I'd go back to like their oldest pictures, comment on that, and then just through that I was able to kind of get a response from some of them, and that's how I kind of built that relationship with some of them. Now I've never connected with Wiz Khalifa himself, but definitely from people from his camp, Raven Felix, some of Wiz Khalifa's bodyguards, and just some of his friends.
Yeah, so I'm going to shout out someone that actually watches my content, watches my stories on Instagram. And I don't know, in the Alberta area, Chef Rowe is one of the most famous chefs in the southern Alberta area, not only for his work, but for his entrepreneurship and how well he put together a business and how young of an age he did it at. And that guy went from like someone that I just followed on Instagram and really looked up to me sending a message back when I lived in Golden, BC in British Columbia, when I was living at a hotel, working at a hotel, and I was cooking. I sent him a message with some of my work in it, and then we got talking, and he followed me back on Instagram, and I've been hacked since then. I've started new accounts since then. He refollows me every time I have to restart over on Instagram or something. Like, he's always there, and he's given me hardcore feedback on my content before. He's offered me to work with him, and he actually... he wanted to open up later hours and have like a whole night scene to his restaurant and serve liquor for it and everything. And he wanted me to be the sous chef for that. And I just wasn't like in that sort of mind state of wanting to cook at that time. So I never ended up taking him up on it, but we're still homies to this day. And if he's watching this, that's really cool. He probably is. And
shout out to Chef Rowe.
Chef Rowe.
Shout out to you. When it comes to networking, I think it's really important to start local.
Yeah, Absolutely.
Where do you live? Who can you connect with that kind of is in the same field as you, or is kind of, just kind of does the same thing, or would like your stuff?
The number one way that I got a reply from anyone that I thought maybe I wouldn't get a reply from, especially DMing on Instagram with companies and people that are of a status, is coming to them with a solution to your problem that you want help with. And it's not necessarily because it's a solution or it's a problem, but like when I was in contact with the skateboard company with a clothing brand I was doing at the time, I got them to agree to let me sell clothing in their store just through a DM Instagram of saying like, hey, this is what I have. This is how much money I've invested. This is how much product I have. And this is where I'm going in the future. And if you come to them with a little bit of like a plan of you already knowing what you're doing, you're much more likely to get into a real conversation with that person.
Definitely. It's really important to note that, everyone's got a different way of wording it, but I like to say the game is to be sold and not to be told.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to put a little bit in to get taught, mentored, and coached on how to, reach another level. And, people avoid, I get messages all the time. Hey, how do I, where should I go to print clothing? Hey, how do I start a clothing brand?
Oh, dude, I get messages all the time like, hey, how do you get confident on camera? How do you edit your transition clip? Like, is that off or on Instagram editing that you do that? Or back in the early days when Instagram first let you put music in, I was like the first one to do it and the first one to figure out how, and everybody was asking me how.
Yeah.
It takes doing.
Honestly, with me, it's like I always, I have an eye for talent. I have an eye for people who have hard work ethic. I have an eye for people who are actually going to go, from soup to nuts, start to finish. And, you got people who are freeloaders that don't really want to do the work, want to connect with you and kind of just tag along and bandwagon with you, ride the wave. Yeah. And then you got people that are going through a phase. And what I get the most is people that are going through a phase.
See, whenever,
they're not going to be here in a year
so
from now.
I'm going to make, so here's a contact I made recently, and I'm going to shout him out here. Actually, he goes by business community something on Instagram. I actually forget, but he's just this 19-year-old kid, and he came to me with almost a message of desperation of wanting to learn, where like this kid, like if he doesn't produce results, his life isn't going to go in the right direction sort of way. Like he doesn't just want to be on camera or any of that. Like he sees marketing and vlogging and clothing and doing Alibaba, Amazon FBA. And like he's researched so many different ways that he can make money with a business at home and all these other ways. And like, he just paid me $20 an hour to do 3 coaching calls with him. And I just like gave him advice and got paid for it. And so, like, it goes from reaching up to the higher up on the ladder where there's people that are definitely above you and you're trying to get in contact with them. But also don't disacknowledge the people that are trying to network with you, the people that see you as the person upwards on the ladder and they see you as the person, someone to learn from. Don't brush them off like it's nothing, because that's a huge opportunity. Because this kid lives all the way across the country in Montreal and he told like 10 of his friends about me, and now 5 of them watch my shit. And it's like...
And that in itself is networking. Word will always spread like wildfire.
Yeah.
Lots of people sell wolf tickets. Lots of people talk a big game, but that's what I was talking about. Like just people that are tire kickers and people who are going through a phase. Like in a year from now, I don't think you're going to be around. Versus someone who, like this guy you're talking about, who desperately wanted to learn, did his own research, reached out to you, and now he's got some of his friends kind of in the loop with things too. Like I'm chasing after that guy every single time.
Yeah. Like in our last podcast, I was talking about creating your avatar, your imaginary people that you're talking to before you have an audience. Whereas like now, even as this podcast is happening, the number one person I think I'm giving advice to throughout this whole podcast is this kid. Yeah. He's going to listen the hardest. He's going to watch the hardest. He's going to stay in contact with me. He's going to keep up. And then there's a few other people on that list that I'm not going to mention or shut out. But like you have your diehards at the end of it, and you really got to start talking to them if you're in the content creation sector of trying to network. So like you reaching out to people is networking, but you presenting yourself on camera properly and putting your content together properly or putting your podcast together properly will create opportunities for people to want to network with you and give you the confidence when you go out to network with somebody, you have something to show them.
Yeah, 100%. You know, that, and even though you barely know this guy, like he's kind of a team with you. Like, you know, a team is, you know, a group of people working towards a common goal. Write down in the comments what your definition of a team is. But I love the fact that, you know, one simple connection like that, he goes and spreads it to 5 of his friends. And, you know, that's networking. So, I mean, this isn't going to be all about networking. We're going to dive into other things. I'm not going to put away this book.
Yeah.
We're just going to ad-lib and go off the top of the head. But let's talk about coachability.
Coachability. Okay, I'm going to start with how uncoachable I was when I was younger.
Okay,
so in high school, I hated all my teachers. I hated our school cop. I was a smoke pit kid. I was always getting into trouble. I was hanging out with the skaters, the emos, the punk rock kids, the gangster kids. We were all one group, all of us. And I didn't really have much respect for authority as a younger person. And then I hopped right into kitchens where there's a lot of authority. And I was actually more scared than anything. I wasn't rebellious to the authority in kitchens. I was just terrified of it. So I'd listen to every word they said until I realized I was becoming coachable through it because I was getting used to getting yelled at. I was getting used to everything being a big deal because everything's a big deal in the kitchen. And through time, I think it was 3 years into cooking, that's when I learned the actual definition of humility, which is to stay coachable regardless of how much you know.
Yeah.
And that's when it sunk in fully. And that was with Spencer at, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, Spencer was someone who we used to work with, and he was a mentor to me. He had a lot of trust in me. He brought me into something called the Art of Conversation, and I was a really shy kid at that point, but he saw what I was capable of when I was out of my shell.
Because back when we were working there, didn't you like host some of our pre-shifts specifically because you wanted to do public speaking and shit?
Yeah, exactly. And so Spencer, knowing that and wanting me to get out of my shell, because he and I would have sit downs, and I think he could see kind of, you know, who Okello was out of his comfort zone.
Yeah.
So when we go to these Art of Conversations, there's a big group of people, and we're going to role play some conversations. And I think he said, I think one time we started the Art of Conversation, and everyone's sitting around, and I think they asked what our definition of leadership was or something, and they were like, does anyone want to? And before the guy could even finish his sentence, he pointed at me and said, Okello does. Called me right out.
Yeah.
Now I'm out of my comfort zone. Everyone's eyes are on me, and now I gotta speak about what, you know, leadership is.
Yeah.
And I remember speaking, being like, that was such a coachable time or moment because I spoke so clearly, I didn't stutter, but had he not done that, I would have just stayed to myself. So, you know, being coachable is not just, you know, allowing people to, you know, kind of push you out of your comfort zone. You got to know how to get yourself out of your own comfort zone. Teaching yourself is also a coachable moment.
Yo, I got another Spencer story and how he taught me. You don't even have to know Spencer personally to connect to these stories, but when I first got hired, I was all adamant about how creative I've become through fine dining experience, and I was interested in the cooking competitions that they were going to host and all the culinary clubs and all that, and he knew I was really into that, so like he got me to cook him a dish from my own heart on the first week there, and just present it to him and let him eat it so he could get to know my food. And then he realized that it was good food and I had talent, and he knew where to gauge me at from there, which is why he got me to cook a meal for him. And then he took me to all of the extracurricular cooking events that the company did. And like I got to do like more than just competitions, but cooking for teachers of colleges and like doing major events for that they would show up to and do cooking for. And I got to do all that shit for that whole 2 years. And he taught me coachability and humility through experiencing and becoming talented and remaining humble throughout the whole process. Because he's like, Josh, I'm not bringing you to this event because you're better than everybody else there. He's like, I'm bringing you to this event because you're more interested in anybody else there.
Yeah.
That's why you're coming.
And that's a solid point.
Yeah.
Again, like we were talking about earlier, the kid that does his research, wants to learn eagerly.
Yeah.
That's who Spencer's picking out in this situation.
And I was me in that situation, yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, what were we talking about? What was the topic?
Coachability and humility.
Anyway, my mind went to like 6 different places.
Well, let's go to one of those places.
I mean, you got to be a real fool to think that you know it all.
Yeah.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
like, you know deep down you don't know it all, and I think some of us just have bigger egos than others and don't like to be corrected or whatever the case may be, whatever your situation is. But you know, you can go a long way just by being coached and just listening. And
also seeking out coaching. Like that kid that got in contact with me through Instagram, and I did 3 coaching calls with him. Pretty sure I changed his life. And it feels better for them than it'll ever feel for you. And that's where you get your good feeling from.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the biggest things in life is just helping people. You're always going to feel better about yourself because you help somebody else.
Yeah.
And in doing that, you learn more about what it is that
you're
teaching.
Because learning is teaching twice over, or teaching is learning twice over, or something. That's what the saying is, which is true. Every little thing I taught him about marketing and every video I sent him from YouTube to watch was like probably 2 years worth of trial and error, research and development for me to get those answers and to get the right videos that teach you the right things about marketing, because he was really interested in marketing. And because I told him, I was like, you want to do your Alibaba store shit? You want to fucking sell clothing? You want to sell products? You want to sell watches? You want to have an online store? You want to run a website? That is all digital marketing. Running a website is digital marketing. Running the inventory through a marketing system online is digital marketing. Doing the search engine optimization for it is digital marketing. And doing the advertising for it through Google Ads to advertise your product, it's all digital marketing. So I was telling this kid, I was like, here's 5 videos and 3 hours of knowledge from me that took me 2 years to figure out. And if you seek out that coaching, then you're probably going to run into someone that can save you years of time and effort just by asking.
Definitely. You know, they say steel sharpens steel.
Yeah.
Friends can also sharpen each other.
Yeah.
And now, what you're doing here, or what you did here, is, I mean, you gave some game.
Yeah.
He took it. Now, he's going to take that game and share it with some of his friends.
Yeah.
And now you see how it goes full circle.
Yeah.
The teaching that you taught, he is now
the leader of that in his circle.
Yeah, now he's teaching it twice, thrice, whatever the case may be. And, you know, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
To piggyback off that, I think, you know, that's when someone who's got a lot of ingenuity, leadership, and, you know, someone who wants to expand their horizon takes charge of what, you know, they're being marginalized for, such as, you know, like thinking you can do or only listen to one type of music. That's when, you know, courage comes into play, and, you know, just being like, I'm going to break the cycle of like, I want to be, you know, I don't want to follow the pack. I want to be the guy that people can look up to and be like, I like what he's doing, and I'm going to do that because that's a better way.
Yeah.
A lot of what we're talking about here has a lot to do with that anyway. But, yeah, I mean, I've always been the kind of person that like just do my own thing, and if people don't like it, then I would rather rock out alone than with a group of people.
Right now, the 2 opposing ideas that I have juggling in my mind is I do really enjoy talking on camera and getting a message out there and doing this podcast with you and doing my vlog where, again, I'm on camera and stuff and I'm the one that's putting myself out there. But the whole reason that I pursue digital marketing is because I'm obsessed with the behind-the-scenes process. And the opposing idea is one direction. You know how to put someone on with digital marketing. You can put them on the internet and like be totally, nobody knows your fucking name. Nobody knows you did that. Or you can be the guy that knows the behind the scenes shit and is on camera at the same time. And the opposing idea is do I want to be the face of something, or do I just want to be the behind the scenes guy? And sometimes I feel like I'm still deciding.
What's your struggle with that?
They're both hard in their own way. One's hard in performance, the other one's hard in research and learning. So like digital marketing is like you got to be a really good student, whereas like being on camera you got to be a really good performer. And usually people that are students aren't performing. Usually people that are performing aren't a student anymore. So it's like knowing what you're doing and absolutely not knowing what you're doing at the exact same time.
Correct. Yeah, agreed.
100%.
100%. In anything.
In anything, yeah.
So, yeah, I can agree with you on that.
But at the same time, like I fucking enjoy every second of it somehow.
Yeah. What are some things? Is there like anything that you struggle with right now? That maybe you like, if you could be completely transparent and have that humility right now.
Oh, dude. Okay, so my thing is like the first 3 hours I'm awake, I do not think I'm capable of anything that I'm up to.
And why is that?
I don't know. I just can't even mentally approach YouTube or content creation or podcasting or sound engineering or digital marketing. I can't even like fathom the idea that I have my hands in all of that right now. And
that scares me that you're gonna not be doing this one day.
Yeah, no. But here's the thing: as soon as like 2 p.m. hits, I'm like fucking ready. Like this flip goes off in my brain. It's like, oh fuck all that. I can do all this shit. And then I start my projects and I do my thing and I finish what I started every single time. And that's the goal. Like what I do to keep myself consistent when I'm not being consistent is understanding that consistency and hard work works when hard work isn't working, and hard work works when passion isn't happening too. So the thing that I struggle with is waking up with the same passion that I have throughout the rest of the day, and then being consistent and getting my studying done earlier in the day, even when I don't feel like it. It gets me in the mood. And it's kind of like the theory of if you make your bed every day, it starts you off with a task-oriented day. And I'm past that point now. I definitely make my bed every day. But like I find starting on some sort of research or study project in the morning, whatever I'm researching in the morning, is the best way to get going. And to not even worry about content creation or putting my face on camera until the evening when I'm super in the mood for that shit. But like I have to be the behind the scenes guy for the majority of the beginning of the day, and then I get amped up to do this shit later on in the day. And
now I will say, I'm gonna like just this will be a little bit more of a, I don't know what podcast this is today. It'll just be like two guys talking, and if I think it'll turn out fine. But for as long as I've known you, you've always taken a liking to getting on camera, and it's a very it's not your typical, you're the only one I know that does that. Yeah. What is so...
It's like, for so many different... Are we talking Instagram specifically?
Yeah, like why do you blog? Why do you podcast? Why do you do any of this?
The first time I started vlogging,
why does it even matter?
Was just because I was super into Gary Vaynerchuk's content, and he was like, well, if you want to fucking be an entrepreneur and get into marketing and do this and all that, he's like, you got to be the face of your own shit. You got to press record and go and just start talking to people on the internet and just get your videos out there and get a message out there. So I started with that. And I just made my videos on my steering wheel or whatever. And then I'd have music playing in the background because you couldn't add music into your story at that time. And then I'd do like my Martin Luther King shit where I just go on a little rant about something. And it picked up really well. And then once I started doing more film work, like with the areas I was in and time-lapse videos and putting it into like a whole thing where it has an intro, beginning, ending, middle, hook, all that, I realized that I could measure my own progression by posting those as memories in the form of like a movie, like having like 100 slides in a row. And when you watch back your own story from like 3 months ago to now, you see where you progressed and you see where you didn't. And then also you can't beat the way that you hit people sometimes. Sometimes people just message you and they're like, dude, that fucking hit me, and like that's going to change me. So to know that something you say could change someone's life at any given moment in time is like, with great power comes great responsibility, but it's a responsibility I'm willing to have.
Yeah.
So the two reasons to round it up that I'm into the vlogging or whatever is the way I can review on myself and the way that I can impact others.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
More than anything, when I watch your stuff, I think the first point. I think you really are someone who's like trying to grow, develop, and change your ways, habits through this.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of why you do this is I almost feel like you wish more people would comment and say what you're good at, what you're not, so you know exactly what areas to tackle.
Yeah, because like honestly, if I've never really received a super hateful message, I've only ever received the people that got a positive impact from it, and anybody that didn't doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
because it's not worth engaging to them or whatever.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That's just what comes with not being that famous.
How do you? What are you trying to grow? What are you trying to like? How are you trying to grow as a person through this? If like part of it is watching your progression.
I want to be a better teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be better at explaining how I do and what I do. Like, there's entire YouTube channels dedicated to how to be on YouTube. Like, people have a YouTube channel that they run where all they do is they give out audio advice and video advice and talking on camera advice and uploading advice and all this advice for how to be
to that point
a content creator. I want to like inspire someone or inspire someone who's already inspired to be, but be in that category of someone that helps content creators themselves. Because some of the shit I talk about isn't related to anyone except for if you're kind of up to the same shit as me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I will also say that the topics, the things that you talk about are all over. It goes from mental health to, podcasting to everything.
Yeah.
If you want to be a better teacher, why wouldn't you just focus and narrow it down to one specific thing? Such as, because you do everything.
I think it would, if I were to do one specific thing, I'd have to vlog less so that it stays more narrowed down. Because when you're vlogging all the time, you can't be on the same thing all the time. We can't even be on the same thing for this whole podcast.
No.
You know what I mean?
But like you said, there's people that are specifically teaching one thing, such as learning Spanish or whatever. Then that channel is dedicated to that. It doesn't veer off that topic or anything. It's just so
my
that's
solo,
what I'm
my
trying to get at.
The solo podcasts that I was doing, they were really on point and they were really narrowed down. And the reason why they did so well on TikTok is because they're all basically, whether it was from chef or mental health or content creation or whatever, it was all about putting your story together for yourself, and self-help pretty much. And it all aligned with that. And that's why it all performed really well consecutively every single time. Mm-hmm. And I learned that from solo podcasting, but I think we can pull that off way easier together because like I told you, I don't want to be solo podcasting right now. It's just the effort is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it really,
But it did teach me consistency in content, and I do need to translate that to my story on Instagram.
I want, moving forward, these podcasts that we do, I want them to be just totally raw. I want to be able to just say whatever is on my mind straight to you.
Yeah.
You can do the same to me.
Yeah.
We're friends. We can talk to each other, and everything's gonna be fine. I will say, I don't think your strongest suit is consistency.
Yeah, no, but
go ahead.
I'm also this is something I can't remember who I learned this from, but it was just some dude that I watched on Instagram. But he was like, if your audience does not affect a mass amount of people in one post, then you have the freedom and ability to change your mind as many times as you want until you feel like you're on a path where you're like, okay, I'm going to stick with this and this is going to be the future of my content or whatever. But I basically learned like 2 years ago you can have sprouts where you're doing really good with your content. You can have sprouts where you're just putting out ass content. You can have sprouts where people are really engaging with it, like the TikTok podcasting and all that. But until all of your channels come down to one company and one name for a mass group of people, you do have the freedom to change your mind a lot. So I take that into account, into the fact that I'm like, okay, if I'm vlogging in front of 60 to 100 people on Instagram and then performing in front of like upwards of 1,000 people a day on TikTok, then I can change my mind.
Yeah.
That's just what it comes down to.
No, that's totally the reason why I want to be able to have like you want to like learn and grow and become, you know, by looking back at these are the videos you want to look back at.
Yeah.
Just these conversations that we're having. Yeah. I'm not, in the last year, I've been probably the worst person with consistency when it comes to jobs.
Yeah.
I have worked 3 jobs in the last year and a half. And I've gotten the same feedback from all 3 jobs, completely different people every single time.
Yeah.
You're a great worker. You do everything awesome when you're here, but you need to work on your consistency. Now, why does my consistency suck? Because I pick and choose what days I want to come in. I pick and choose how I want to do my work and how hard I want to work that day. And it all comes down to me just being sick of working for other people.
Yeah.
So it comes off like I'm kind of lazy or like I'm kind of, but I've never had that issue ever in my life.
No, dude, I've watched content about this topic. When it comes to being,
like you were saying about changing your mind, that's what I'm doing here in this situation. It's not. I know I'm a hard worker. I don't need their. I'm a very self-appointed person. I know me very well.
Dude, put in as little as possible for your 8 hours. Fuck them. You're as replaceable gets.
Absolutely.
So like, but in LINO WEAR, you are irreplaceable, which is where you get to be the legend and the king of it, right? And it's like, yeah, man, like I've also worked 3 jobs in the past year. So, yeah. And I get the same feedback from every single one. You want to know what my feedback is?
Enlighten me.
On days where you're good, you're the best one in the kitchen. On days where you're not good, you're the worst one in the kitchen. Consistency.
Yeah, consistency.
And it's like, dude, nothing helps my consistency more than posting a vlog for like 5 days in a row. And then just like seeing how I affected some people and then watching it back for myself. And I'm like, okay, not doing that again.
Yeah, look, I will say this. When you had your last job and it didn't go as planned, you were on Instagram, whatever you were on, and you were talking. And to me, it really looked like you were trying to explain something to yourself that didn't make sense, and you were trying to get like I don't know, maybe it was like a kind of like a little bit of there's a little bit of pity going on, but it just seemed like, okay, this job didn't work out. Now, you talked about consistency, you talked about so many different things, and it seemed like you were trying to make all that make sense to you. And like you said, it was like 5 days in a row or like, you know, multiple videos, and I'm looking at it like, and then I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that I think you really want to grow and learn and, you know, mature and become a better version of yourself, and you just haven't found how to do that properly. So you post a lot and you make videos and kind of educate others, but at the same time, I think you're actually trying to educate yourself and trying to teach yourself.
Yes, no, but I actually have it super dialed now. I know exactly what I'm going to do, how I'm going to monetize it, where I'm going with it. I'm like 3 certificates away from it happening. And I'm actually like taking education and like, yeah. By the way, guys, I'm getting educated by Google on Google courses. Fucking free to the world, man. Just take them. They're globally recognized certificates, and that's all I need for a freelance digital marketing profile. You decide how much you charge an hour yourself.
Yeah. Don't take this the wrong way, but I'll believe when I see it.
Yeah.
Like you get your certificate, then I'll believe. Because with your
you
last job, you were all suited up and whatever. And it was like I thought it was for sure, and that's happened a lot. And that's what I was talking about, consistency. That's what I meant. Like not just that job, but other things too. Where I'm like, he seems so sure about it. It's gonna happen, and then like it doesn't happen. So I'll believe it when I see it. And don't take that the wrong way.
I'm not taking it the wrong way.
Good. It's just I want to see that consistency. Now I'm not perfect either. I'm sure there's some sort of feedback you have from me. I want to learn. I want to grow too through watching these videos back.
My biggest feedback for you is if I was Okello Lino and I was like dreaming about LINO WEAR and shit, I would just go get a 25 an hour snow removal job and just rack in that money.
Yeah.
And invest it in. I wouldn't be in a kitchen right now. I wouldn't even be fucking with that.
I'll tell you what. I'm not in the kitchen anymore.
Oh, okay.
I'm really not. I'm done with it, and I do have a snow removal job.
Do you actually?
That's so. I thought you knew. I was like,
no
way.
No, dude, seriously. That's 100% what I would have done if I was you too.
Yeah, I mean, now this is obviously not permanent, but it's quick money.
Yeah.
And there's lots of overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, we work 12-hour shifts, 13, 15-hour
Have you
shifts.
done a shift yet?
I have.
And how's your boss?
Everyone's sick. Everyone's dope.
Everyone's
and
dope.
everyone thinks I'm sick and I'm dope. So
we
mesh really well. But yeah.
Yeah, that's 100% what I would do. I'm so glad that that's what you're doing.
Yeah, I work. I'm not gonna.
I just a kitchen is not the way to a clothing line. It's just not.
You know what? I made a lot of money in kitchens, just because of my position. But yeah, it gets really mundane. Gets very routine, and you just get to know how things work.
I don't know, man. Like I was making like 23 an hour when I was out in Canmore earlier this year. I was still fucking broke. But it's also the most expensive city to live in the country too. Like,
yeah.
You like gas is 20 cents more. Groceries are like $3-4 more for everything you buy. Like a 4 liter of chocolate milk is $9.50.
I don't know. I don't. I guess.
I feel like if I was making that money here in Airdrie, I would have been fucking fine.
Yeah. I will say one of my biggest weaknesses is I get bored really easy. I'm a hyperachiever. I need to feel like I'm doing something.
Yeah,
otherwise
honestly,
I'm just like,
I kind of wanted to. I kind of wanted to say that earlier. That's where people can get misconnected in my inconsistencies with my content. It's not because I got insecure or bored or unfollowed because of what I posted. It's because I was like, I'm bored now. I'm going to be a different person. Like, I'm going to be the hype one now. Who cares? Like, I'm tired of being the sad one.
You know what? If there anything about your content and feedback that I've gotten from you, with hanging out with other people that we know, no one knows what the fuck you do.
Yeah.
It's like, is he a chef? Is he a blogger? Is he like, what does he do? Is he just in his room?
But you know what?
Like, who are you? What do you do?
There's people that run YouTube channels with 300,000 plus subscribers with deliverable, fucking on point content. Nobody knows what they do for a living.
That's
Ever.
True. That's true.
Like that guy that I showed you that spits out amazing fucking shit that he probably just read in a book and he's spitting it out his own way in every video. Dude, that guy has his hands in clothing. He has his hands in marketing. He has his hands in like a food promotion blog thing. And he's like really into these diets and like mushrooms that don't get you high, but they're just mushrooms that are good for your body and stuff. And like whenever he talks about like himself personally, I'm like, yeah, I have no fucking clue what you do, dude. Yeah. But I watch all his videos because he has little pinpoints that just stick with you sometimes. But I'm not saying that's something I should be looking up to or something that I should be trying to do myself.
No. Yeah, I mean, that guy, I don't know. When I see that guy, I'm like, he probably does something else, but he's really good at just making it known that this is the only thing he does.
Yeah.
With you, it's like you could be doing 10 different things and like, what are you? What do you do?
Yeah. I'd rather be misidentified right now than be identified as a chef.
Sure.
I'd rather be in my who knows phase than in my line cook phase.
Yeah, I will always respect. I I highly recommend going and cooking and trying that out. I think it's a great thing, by the way.
I think it's
really
an amazing thing if you're under 25. You'll learn so many lessons.
You will.
I just think if you're not head chefing it by the time you're almost 30, get the fuck out.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I've never seen anyone really like over 30 who isn't either in leadership, running the place, just cooking. People, I think people get out. Yeah. So they know.
My biggest inconsistency with kitchens in the last 2 years is mostly because cooking just doesn't feel nostalgic like it did back in the day, and I'm always chasing that feeling, and I'm never going to get it back. It's kind of like the first time you try a drug versus the 50th time you've done a drug. The first time was obviously the best time, and the drug addict is chasing that time again, and they're never going to get it back. That's how I felt in kitchens. I felt like I was going from kitchen to kitchen, expecting to just fall in love with the team, the menu, and the community, and then I'm like, oh my God, this is gay and mundane. Sorry, not gay. Boring and mundane like any other fucking...
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's totally valid. I mean, I would... I
just couldn't get into it for the life of me.
I think for me, I kind of felt like I was getting too old for the kitchen, and if I stuck around any longer... You know what? I was just starting to get very unhappy in kitchens. No matter what kitchen I went to, they were all the same for the most part.
Yeah.
Very, very similar, all of them. And it didn't matter what kitchen it was, how great the people were. And that's what happened. The last kitchen I was at, I was like, I know everyone here, and or most of them. And, maybe I can stick around and like grow and develop. And I did. But then at the end of the day, I'm going home going, I got to get the fuck out of here. Yeah. I got to actually start a career because I know this ain't it. And I'm getting too old to be around.
That's where I'm at right now, which is why I've been knees deep in digital marketing for the past 6 months and why I've been taking my courses. And really the only thing I look up is digital marketing right now. The only thing I research is digital marketing. The only thing I'm studying on is digital marketing. It's the only thing. That's why I have it so dialed in my head with how I think I'm going to do this. But regardless of the situation, when I graduate these courses, I can just go and get a job if I feel like it. Like, I have the qualification after that. But, like, digital marketing caps out at $60,000 in Canada anyway. When you're just... Because, like, here's how... When you work at a digital marketing office, there's, like, the SEO guy. And then there's the email marketing guy. And then there's the social media management guy. And then there's the product marketing guy.
Is money that important, though?
Yeah, 100%. If I want to make $60,000 a year, I'll go be a head chef. People get out of the kitchen to make more.
So you're chasing money.
I'm not chasing money. I'm chasing what I love to do, but there's 2 different ways you can do it. You can work for a company and just be stuck on one job every day. Or you can take the freelancing route.
You're not doing the other one, though. You're not cooking. So this, no matter how much this makes, this is the better route regardless. So
this is the better route regardless.
Fuck the $60,000. Be happy with it. Stack your money. Save.
Yeah.
And that doubles, triples.
Even if I'm working at an office, I can still take on freelancing projects from home.
True.
Because there's freelancing projects that take you a day and you get paid $500 in 2 hours and you just did whatever they wanted. And then sometimes you work with a client that's with a company that wants you working on a project for 4 months with them. It depends which clients you take.
Yeah.
It can be easy money in one day or a 4-month-long thing project that you need to be home for every day that's paying you upwards of up to $250 an hour. That's the difference. With the freelancing, an experienced freelance marketer makes $250 an hour.
I was still going to say something. Anyway, that's, by the way.
An experienced office worker in digital marketing maybe makes $80.
80 would be nice. 80 would be really nice.
It's just substantially better. But it's harder to freelance because you're running your own business from home. You're keeping up with clients by yourself. You're booking your projects by yourself.
Yeah.
You're doing more than one marketing task by yourself. It's definitely the heavier workload, which is why it pays more. What I'm saying is I hate email marketing, and I'd hate to see myself get a job at a marketing office, and then they put me in email marketing, and I do email marketing for 2 years and want to blow my fucking brains out.
Yeah, that would suck.
So.
No bueno.
Passion.
My girlfriend is a character designer, I don't even want to explain what that is and dive into it, but someday she makes, I think the most she's made was $1,000 in a week.
Nice.
So there's good money, but at the same, I mean, that was like one time, so don't get too crazy here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think we've talked about a lot today. You know, I think this is a video that we can both learn from if we watch it back. And
Guys.